This weekend, leaders from the world's 20 largest economies converge on New Delhi for a summit of the G20. They're tackling everything from inflation and debt restructuring to climate change and the war in Ukraine. While President Putin and Xi are skipping the summit, U.S. President Joe Biden is due to arrive in the coming hours. Voice of America's Jessica Stone is live for TVRI World from New Delhi. Hello, Jessica.
Hello, good to be with you.
Hi. Jessica, the U.S. President Joe Biden as well as Prime Minister Modi will hold bilateral talks late today. Can you tell us what's on the agenda?
Certainly. Well, they are going to be talking about this new GE engine deal that is just been passed by the U.S. Congress. They've got a lot of loose ends to tie up from the June state visit in which Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited the United States. And that was the point at which they announced that GE engine deal that will provide engines for the Indian Air Force. So they're going to move forward on that. And Jake Sullivan, the national security advisor, said that there's going to be progress there. Also progress on the Reaper drone deal of sales to India from the United States, as well as some civil nuclear progress. I spoke to CSIS chair in U.S.-India, Rick Rosso, about what he thinks the other points of discussion will be. And one of them is resolving the remaining WTO, World Trade Organization, dispute between these two countries. At the point of the state visit, they had resolved about 5 out of 6. They still have 1 left to resolve, and so that will be on the table. Also, more concrete U.S. commercial investments in the place of high technology, quantum computing, communications, that sort of thing. And concrete Indian investments in the United States, particularly along the lines of bio energy and solar. We believe that we'll also hear from the two leaders that they have resumed exercises of the Tiger Triumph Tri-Service and U.S. cooperation on Indian Ocean security threats. So a full discussion, but a number of business deals that we anticipate being further advanced through the communication between these two leaders.
Right. Now, India has urged the world's wealthiest economies to reform their lending as well as to help the poorer nations. Jessica, can you tell us what do we expect from this summit on this issue?
Well, we already know that the United States is coming into this summit really with the aim of taking advantage of the absence of China to work with India to increase capitalization of the World Bank, of the International Monetary Fund, to primary lending institutions for the world, and in particular for low-income countries. There's this wide concern about debt traps, and specifically through the Belt and Road Initiative that China has initiated. And it's been a concern for the Indian government as well as the U.S. government. They are coming into this summit with the aim of reforming these institutions, of recapitalizing them, and for giving people an alternative, also for educating low-income countries at the cost of taking some of these loans and these terms of loans. Take Sri Lanka, for example, who is using about 70% of its revenue now to pay just the interest on its loans to China for some of the work done at its ports. It's also, of course, declared bankruptcy. So these are the kinds of tales that can happen with these countries. The good news is we're also seeing movement on the part of China, because China itself has begun to restructure some of its deals. Take, for example, Zambia. They recently reached an agreement to have Zambia be able to pay down its debt to China. And so there is progress on education, also on communication in the lending community. And India is really here to get a commitment from the higher income countries that they can put in the leaders' communique at the end of these summits and then work on them going forward to the World Bank and IMF meetings in October.
All right, so it's good that we are hearing progress as well as commitments on this issue. Now, Jessica, we know that the Chinese President Xi Jinping has made a rare decision not to attend the G20. What do we know about the reason of why he is not coming, and how is this playing out on the ground there?
Well, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has certainly been asked a number of times, why is this happening? Xi Jinping choosing to send his deputy Li Qiang in his stead, the premier of China. who will be the representative on the ground here at the G20 summit. This is a rare decision for China to make because China has always gone to these meetings since their inception. And this is the first time that Chinese President Xi Jinping has not gone himself. He even attended during COVID by video link. So this is rather unprecedented. And it does come to some analysts as very ironic, given the fact that he made the time to go to the BRICS summit just ahead of this, which of course is a Chinese-backed alternative to the G20 in terms of giving the global south and some of the lower income developing countries like Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa a greater voice in financial arrangements. So he made the time to do that and even extended the invitation to 6 additional countries to join the BRICS summit, but he's not taking the time to come here. So that's of significance. It is also the case that this is going to be a missed opportunity for a meeting between the world's 2 largest economies. The US and China have not had a face-to-face meeting between these 2 presidents, nor have they had any communication on the phone in a year since President Xi Jinping and President Biden met on the sidelines of the G20 in Bali, Indonesia. So this is a significant missed opportunity in the eyes of many in the US government. President Biden was asked about this and he said, I will get to meet him. He did not specify when, but there is, of course, the possibility that the 2 leaders could meet on the sidelines of the APEC summit, the APEC Leaders Summit coming in San Francisco in the month of November. That, of course, is if and only if Xi Jinping comes to those meetings as well. So we'll have to see.
All right, so we have to see indeed. VOA correspondent Jessica Stone, live reporting from India's G20 summit. Thank you so much for sharing your reports with us, and we're looking forward for more updates from you. Thank you.
Pleasure to be with you.